Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 20th episode of Movie Dudes. I'm Phil,
And I'm Alec.
and today we're going to be talking about two movies. The first one being Mishima, A Life in Four Chapters, directed by Paul Schrader, and the second one being Patriotism, directed by Yukio Mishima in 1960 something. 66? Alright, yeah. So we're going to start by Mishima, A Life in Four Chapters, and then we're going to go into Patriotism. So, Mishima, A Life in Four Chapters is a movie about the life of the famous Japanese author Yukio Mishima, who is an author, poet, did many things in his career. He was nominated for a Nobel Prize, and he's known for having certain kind of strange and sort of unique political opinions and political views. And so this movie is a movie about his life, but it's not your typical biopic that's just showing the character's birth to his death. It's a bit more complicated than that. Basically, the movie is divided into four parts, four chapters, obviously, that are all related to some of his beliefs and themes that he used a lot in his novels. So I don't remember the. Hold on, just a second. I'm gonna get my my Blu-ray just to look at the manual.
Right.
All right, got it.
Should we?
So I don't remember. Yeah.
Should we delve a little bit more into context of who Mishima was and what he basically not a full life story, but kind of cliff notes.
Of course.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yukio Mishima was obviously, as we mentioned, a Japanese author who grew up raised by his grandmother. And I believe he began writing, or he at a very young age started to have this fascination with death, and specifically dying in a very honorable and glorious way. So when World War II broke out, he was, I think he was around he was the fighting age, the age to be in the army. So he went to go get recruited into the army, but for some reason when he was there, he faked having a tuberculosis condition, which he still, I believe up until his death, he still doesn't know why he did that. But right after this, he began to, more of his writings. He would write really famous books like Confessions of a Mask, not the Secret of the Golden Temple, but I don't remember, what's the name of the Golden Temple one? The Beauty of the Golden Temple?
The Golden Pavilion.
Oh, the Golden Pavilion, that's right.
Yeah.
We wrote that one and so many others, and began to so obviously after World War II, Japan began to get a little bit more westernized, even to the point where the emperor would declare himself as no longer a deity in the eyes of the Japanese people, which Mishima did not like. So he began getting much more political, to the point where he gathered some students from the local college and created his own private army in the form of the Shield Society. And I don't know how long he had this private army until, but on a very specific day,
I'm not sure. Yeah.
What was the day that he what was the day in
November 25th, 1970.
Yes. So on that day, Mishima decided to gather four of his most trusted Shield Society members and go to a government building and take I don't quite know what his position was, but take a Japanese
Yeah.
politician hostage, and
Yeah, he was like an army guy.
yeah, and go up onto the balcony of the place and give a speech calling for a revolution, a coup against the emperor, and to restore the old ways of the samurai. Directly after the speech, he would go into the he would go back into the room where all the members of the Shield Society, or the members of the Shield Society and the politician were, and proceed to commit harakiri, or seppuku, as it's also known, which is a type of ritual suicide that is a very honorable death, typically for people of samurai. So that was, the life of Yukio Mishima. After that, obviously, he was a very controversial figure in Japan. So much so that I also read that the film Mishima: Life in Four Chapters has never seen a release in Japan. As well,
Yep.
as well that I believe a biography has never been released on Yukio Mishima over there. Because that's just how controversial he is, or he was, and still is. But yeah, Mishima: Life in Four Chapters covers his entire life, but like Phil said, it's not a very typical biopic because it goes over.
No.
It is in four sections. The first one being a. Hold on, I'm going to get.
Beauty.
I'm going to get my Blu-ray as well, so I can read off the actual chapters.
You have the Blu-ray as well?
Yeah, I do. I got it a little
Alright.
while ago during one of the sales. I don't quite remember which one. Trying to. Oh yeah, okay. So
I don't.
It's
Yeah. All right.
It's divided into four chapters. Which the first one, Beauty, goes over. It incorporates a good bit of Mishima's early childhood with a a very condensed adaptation of his book, The Temple of the Golden Pavilion. The second one, which I don't remember the chapter name for.
Oh fuck! What is it? Hold on.
Yeah, because I don't think it's anywhere in the.
No, it's not. I looked it up. It's not on the Blu-ray, so now I'm gonna go on the Criterion channel to look at the movie itself. Because might as well at this point.
Right.
Hold on. Just skipping through the credits. All right, got it. So the second chapter is art, and it's an adaptation of his book Kyoko's House.
Yes. And the third. What's the third chapter called?
Then the third one is action, and it's an adaptation of his novel Runaway Horses. And
Yes.
finally, the fourth chapter is called Harmony of Pen and Sword,
Which
is a pretty fucking cool name.
Yeah, which is a really cool name, but is also the instead of an adaptation of any book of his, it is a nearly beat for beat recreation of the events of November 25th, 1970. So we get those, four chapters throughout the entire movie, and I guess let's get into it.
Yeah. All right.
So,
right. So that was your first time watching the movie. That was my second time watching it. What'd you think?
I loved it. Yeah, I thought it was amazing. But a good part of that is because Yukio Mishima as a person really interests me. I would probably say it goes as far as to say is I'm very fascinated by this man and what he believed and what he wrote. And I think it is so interesting to see through chapters like through chapters like Golden Pavilion or Kyoko's house, we get to see his beliefs of like his warped view of beauty in a very strange way, and we get to see a lot of different things about like obviously the last. I guess you could kind of take his take like the first two and the last two chapters and not put them in the same category, but kind of describe them in a similar way, because the first two chapters cover, purely what he thinks about beauty and art, but the last two are very much about his political beliefs and the way he admired the way of the samurai. But I like one of the focal points of chapter 2, which I'm gonna be jumping around a lot because it's just my my head is very very scrambled with this movie. But one of the focal points of chapter 2 is obviously the novel Kyoko's House, which is a story about at least what we know in the movie, because I obviously haven't read Kyoko's House. I would like to. I would really like to read some Yukio Mishima in the future.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to do that as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but Kyoko's House is the story of this guy who enters a very strange relationship with this older woman that involves a lot of very very strange views on each other physically, and during the intersplice throughout this adaptation, we get the explanation, not really explanation, I guess, just kind of the ideas of like what Yukio Mishima did to himself during that time, which was he became a bodybuilder purely because he wanted to have this very defined body that he could show off to the world. So yeah, we get a lot of that. I think I mentioned this a little earlier, and this was one of my notes that I wanted to bring up more about Mishima and how it relates to, I guess, just a lot of his stuff. And we're gonna bring it up again during Patriotism too. But ever since World War II, he had this very, very, very pronounced fixation with death in such a way that in such a way that it became pretty much the focus of every single one of his stories. Not every single one, but a lot of them. A lot of them are focused on death in some kind of way. But none more so than the way that he, thought of himself, because he very much often said like he doesn't want to see himself. He didn't want to see himself, get old, and he didn't want to see his body, deteriorate through the years. So part of him always, I think, wanted to die young. I don't know. It's all extremely interesting to me to watch all this, but I guess to get into my notes about the movie itself, I really only have one about like the actual movie, in that I think the way that the movie is pulled off visually is incredible. Because the sets of the of like the books, or like the book adaptations, are all arranged in a much more like stage configuration, like you would see on like a like a theater stage. So it's like sets. The camera often like just moves around this little area that is meticulously put together. One of my favorite shots is the during the Golden Pavilion, where the massive Golden Pavilion like opens up, and like all the other stuff like pushes aside like it would on a stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's such an interesting, obviously, and also the colors are great. But I think it's such an interesting way to, I guess, frame your, or it's just such an interesting way to frame that side of the story. It really creates such a like dreamlike place that I loved watching, and I really can't wait to watch this movie again because I would love to take another look at that stuff. But the other thing I really like is on the opposite side of the coin, in which we see the real life events of Mishima in everything that is not November 25th, 1970. We get it all in black and white and narrated by I believe his name is Ken Ogata, who plays Mishima. And so, we get this narrated retelling of the pretty like important basics of his life. Then obviously November 25th, 1970 is all shot in color, while the flashbacks are shot in black and white. I don't know if I mentioned that. But yeah, that's kind of really like all I had to say about the movie itself, other than just I think it's incredibly made. And it also it shocks me about this movie is if we take a look at the guy who directed it, because Paul Schrader Paul Schrader has a very interesting filmography, to the point where it's like, he has written and directed some incredible stuff. He wrote Taxi Driver. He wrote Raging Bull. And he directed this movie, and he directed the very recent First Reformed. All great stuff. But he's also, on the opposite side of the hand, directed some of like the worst movies that I've seen in the last long while. Like he directed that movie Dog Eat Dog with Nicolas Cage, which I haven't seen in full, but I've seen a good bit of, and it's just not good. He also directed a movie last year titled The Card Counter, which I think I brought up during my end of year list.
You did, yeah.
And that movie is so baffling to me that you can go from such a visual treat as Mishima is to an absolute eyesore of a movie that Card Counter is. And maybe it's just the cinematography that he had, but oh my god,
maybe
it is so night and day. And you would think that it's an argument at that point. You would think it's an argument of like, oh, his old stuff used to be good. That's not true. He proved that wrong with First Reformed. Just what was it, 4 years ago? So it's like, what? So it's like, how does this happen?
I don't know. He seems like an interesting person.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned at some point the Twitter account that shows he posts on his Facebook page, and there's a lot of weird stuff. And he seems like a good guy. He just seems a bit strange, but
Oh yeah. No, I'm sure he's great. It's just his filmography. His filmography has and always will completely baffle me. But it's in a
fascinating.
Good way. In a good way.
Mm-hmm.
What were we gonna say?
There's something that I find very interesting about this movie, which is that it feels so much like a purely 100% Japanese movie. Like they would have like Japanese writers, directors, and all. But besides the cast, it was directed by an American man, and it was produced by George Lucas and Francis Ford Coppola.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I don't know, I feel like, I don't know what it is. I feel like today, if Hollywood had to make a movie about Japan, they would find a way to include like Tom Cruise or something like that, which they did.
Yeah.
But
they would
I don't know.
they would try and it's not even like, obviously they would have like American stars in it if Hollywood were to make a movie like this again. But the other thing would be is I don't think it'd be subtitled. The fact that this movie is entirely almost in Japanese, aside from literally 2 lines in the middle of the movie. The fact that it's entirely in Japanese is insane to me. And there's
it's
and I don't know if you've noticed, but on the Criterion Blu-ray, there is an audio track that you can choose that has the narration that Ken Ogata does, replaced by an American actor who did some narration because apparently Paul Schrader thought the movie was a little too subtitle heavy for American audiences at the time. But for 1985, yeah, I can agree with that. I think I mean, I think it's pretty insane that, like, I mean, obviously this movie was seen by some people and loved, so it was remembered.
Yeah.
So the fact that it got that type of recognition in America at that time, when foreign film, I guess, wasn't entirely over here yet. I mean, it was, but not in the same way.
Yeah.
The fact that it got that kind of recognition it feels nice to me that happened.
I don't think I'm being pessimistic when I'm saying that we're never gonna get something like that again.
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
Like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. Like, you know, an purely American movie that is so respectful to the culture and to Japan in general, and it's like we're never gonna get that again. Because, like, another thing too is if they try to do that again, it's gonna be entirely in English, as you said, but it's also like gonna be a bunch of just like Chinese and Korean actors that like do not speak a word of Japanese, which is like basically any like Asian movie.
Yes,
like samurai movies, Mulan as well.
If we even if we go to like just regular movies with Asian people in it, there was that I mentioned that a couple weeks ago. I watched Wish Upon. You know, obviously a terrible movie, but it gets the most basic thing wrong. And I'm not saying that the casting for this was wrong. I'm not saying that the actor who played the character did a bad job, because he didn't. But in the movie, one of the main supporting characters, I guess he could be considered a main character, is a Chinese guy who, like, you know, is there because, you know, the wishing box or whatever is in Chinese, like it has Chinese writing on it. So he's there to be like, oh, you know, I can speak Chinese. My cousin can speak Chinese. We can help you decode it. The actor who plays him does a great, a great job for what he was given. He's Korean.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
And a part of me is like, I feel like we shouldn't be doing that, right? Like we shouldn't be getting that kind of thing. I'm sure that they knew. There's no way that it wasn't a mistake. I'm just saying that we shouldn't be getting that type of thing mixed or like wrong, I guess. It just seems a little strange.
I can't feel like the old white producer that was like, "Oh, he's got small eyes, must speak Chinese, right?"
Yeah, it's like, obviously I think he did a fine job, but it's one of those things where it's like maybe you should have written that a little differently or something. I don't know. Wish Upon's an awful movie, but there's plenty of examples, you know, exactly like that in other types of movies. I can't recall any off the top of my head, but I've heard instances. But yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any like specific notes for the movie? I'm sure you did, since this was your second time watching it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And I will say, I don't know what I was doing the first time I watched the movie, but I don't know why I didn't really notice just how visually amazing this movie is. And I really want to talk about that because like there's a lot of good stuff, a lot of amazing stuff in that movie. But to me, the major point of it is the cinematography, the lighting, the colors, the framing. It's just all perfect. One of the first things that I wrote is pretty much every single shot is stunning. Like there isn't a single shot that isn't beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like even the most simple shot, there's like still a specific thing that is gonna be like, oh yeah, that's good. I'm a sucker for like using color in movies.
Oh, same
like
here.
you know, stuff like obviously La La Land and those kinds of movies that use colors a lot, and this is one of them. There's a lot of red I noticed in the movie. There's a scene in particular that I'm thinking of, which I think is going to be the background for this episode, which is in the third chapter when the characters in the novel adaptation have like an assembly somewhere, and it kind of like all goes to red. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
I know. Yeah, I know what scene you're talking about.
Right. It's like, you know, the lighting is perfectly normal, like you would expect, and then everything goes darker and everything goes to red, and it's like it's amazing. It's one of the prettiest scenes in the movie, and just in general, like I don't know. There's too many things. My mind can't process just how pretty this movie is.
It is, yeah. It's like even this is an element I haven't even touched on yet, but the score is done by Philip Glass.
Oh my god,
yeah,
dude,
it's incredible as well.
It's so good.
Yeah, I'm listening to it right now.
Yeah,
but
it immediately became one of my favorite film scores of all time.
I agree.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good stuff in that movie. The set as well. That's another thing. The set designs for especially the novel adaptations. Mainly the main one that I'm thinking of is the Golden Pavilion, which is so unique. I've never seen something quite like this in another movie.
It looks like it comes straight out of a storybook. Like that's how.
Kinda,
like,
yeah.
It's like beautiful, insanely beautiful looking.
And
I've never seen a movie like this, and I love being able to say that about movies that I see. It's like, I've never seen anything like that before in my entire life.
But yeah, there's a scene in particular too, in the third chapter, which I think is just everything in it is. I think it is one of the most perfect scenes I've ever seen in a movie, which is the end of the chapter where the character in the novel adaptation goes to kill the I don't remember who he kills, but he kills someone like in politics. I don't know if it's like the emperor or something like that.
I think
he kills someone.
I think for that version, I think it is the emperor. I'm pretty sure.
Right. Well, yeah. So let's say it's the emperor. So he goes in the room, kills him, and then runs into this forest, which at the beginning of the scene is like sort of like blue, the type of blue that you'd expect in a night scene, and then he kills the emperor and goes back into the forest, and the light again changes to red, and he gets to this this lake where you can see that the sun is rising, and he commits seppuku, and the way that is done with the the framing, the colors, the lighting, the music, everything is on point. There is nothing wrong with this scene. It is so good.
There is an incredibly edited moment, and it's the one at the very end where Mishima commits seppuku. During every adaptation of the storybook, we were never shown the exact last moment. So it's like at the end of Golden Pavilion, he burns down the Golden Pavilion, or at least what he sees as it. At the end of Kyoko's house, Kyoko and him die together. At the end of Runaway Horses, like you just said, the guy commits seppuku. Right in that moment, when Mishima stabs himself, the three endings before him all flash together in a very small sequence before he himself dies, and it's incredible.
It's like the movie is divided into 4 different parts, obviously, and every part builds up to the end of that chapter until it cuts right before the very end, so that at the end of the last chapter you get all 4 of those ends to create the biggest climax you'd ever see in a movie. It's again, it's a perfect scene. There are many of them in this movie.
It really is. The whole movie, like we've said multiple times, is just perfectly and meticulously orchestrated to all be near perfect, honestly.
It's so the first time I saw the movie, I rated it a 4.5 stars. I think I'm gonna give it a full 5-star this time.
You think so?
I think it's gone that far. It deserves it. Yeah.
I think I'm comfortable with the 4.5 for now. We'll see how I'm feeling next time I see it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, well,
that's kind of all I had for for a Mishima Life in 4 chapters. I don't know if it's the same for you.
Well, there's a thing that I'd like to talk about, which is I think it's interesting to sort of try to link the novel that is chosen for each chapter with what it represents in Mishima's life. Try to link the biopic part with the novel adaptation part. That's something that I thought of during the movie. I think it would be interesting to talk about. For example, the first chapter is it's Beauty, about the Golden Pavilion, which in Japan is considered to be I don't know exactly what it the right words, but it's considered to be one of the most beautiful places in the entire country, and it's known for it's very attached to the word beauty, and this book follows a character that has a stutter, and hold on, I gotta find a way to phrase this. And so when they talk about Mishima's childhood, they talk a lot about his fascination for words. That's the part of his childhood where he really realized just how much he likes words and he's fascinated by it. So there is something that I think is really interesting by showing his interest for words and showing a character who has trouble talking and expressing words.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that I think is pretty interesting about that. There's something else that I wrote. Yeah, there is some form of poetry that I think is very, very interesting in the book about the main the main character in the Golden Pavilion thinks that the pavilion is so beautiful that it in fact becomes too beautiful and does not want it to exist because of that, and then tries to and then burns it down. um I feel like I could try to like analyze that like at some other time, because I like
Yeah.
will not be able to figure it out tonight. But
Like,
there is something that I think is very interesting about that.
yeah, visually it's communicated really well too, because the main character is like talking with his friend, and is holding a miniature golden pavilion in his hand, and begins to say about how he thinks true beauty must be destroyed or something like that. And in that exact moment that he says that, he crushes the small golden pavilion in his hands. And immediately after that, we're cutting to the scene where he, begins to burn down the pavilion, which is just amazing.
Yeah. Because the thing that we forgot to mention about this story is that, it's set during World War II, and basically they explain that the main character hopes that the American bombers will bomb the pavilion so that it will be destroyed because of that. But when he hears that the war is over, he's like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna have to do it myself.
That's
then.
true.
Which he does.
Which is another thing to mention about just how far Mishima's, Yukio Mishima's want to be killed in an honorable and glorious fashion. He would often think about getting blown up during the air raids of World War II. Like, he would think about that since he, didn't go off to war himself. That was something it's just when I heard that part of the story, I was like, oh my god, it's just so fascinating to know that this guy existed.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna do this for every chapter, because we are at like 40 minutes, and we also have to talk about patriotism. But hold on, let me just look at my notes for a second.
Well, like I said earlier, Kyoko's house more or less represents it continues the warped view that Mishima would have on beauty, and how, I guess, perfect it needs to be, but also about how it should be destroyed in some way, because the main character, much like Mishima himself, wants to become a bodybuilder. He does that and begins seeing this older woman who, abuses and cuts up his body, and then in the end he agrees to bleed out and die in front of her. So we see this, like, there's so much to read into there, and I really can't wait to start getting into the reading of these books, actually, because there's so much to unpack there about how the main character thinks about beauty, and obviously what Mishima himself thought of the concept.
Yeah, it's like there's the whole thing of bodybuilding to be as good looking and as pretty as you can possibly be. But the issue with that is that if you put so much care into your appearance, you gotta there's someone who says that you have to die at your most handsome, at your peak, basically. And I find it kind of interesting. And
obviously the story of runaway dogs is quite literally, or runaway horses, I'm sorry, is quite literally a mirror of the Shield Society, almost completely. Other than the killing the Emperor part.
Right. But yeah, so that's really the part of the movie where we really see like how far his political views went. We see just how patriotic, he was. See what I did there, and that's kind of the part where it's like, okay, that guy is kind of weird. All right.
Yeah. You could, and that's another thing I guess I'm glad I remembered to mention now, is you could really see that you could look at, the death of Mishima in so many different ways, or at least a few. You could definitely look at it through the lens of, okay, this was definitely some kind of prolonged, like mental episode. Like, there's no way that this guy was in his entirely right mind. Or you could look at it in the way that, I don't know, I think about it a lot like this, in the terms of, like, he really did, I guess, go out in the most insanely well-constructed culmination of all of his art up to that point. Everything the man stood for and everything he was culminated at the exact point in his life. And it's so insane to me that something like that even happened. Like, it's a real event.
Right. Yeah. It's like, honestly, I saw the movie for the first time and I thought, like, this gotta be fake. And then I went on his Wikipedia and I saw a picture of him giving his speech and I was like, oh shit, that actually happened. Oh.
It's so crazy that it seems like it would be, something fictional, but it's not. It's entirely real.
Yeah. It's kind of funny when you look at his the chapter on his Wikipedia page, and you've got like the usual early life, private life, post-war literature, acting and modeling, and then at the end you've got coup attempt and ritual suicide.
Yeah, that's where
just
it's like,
out of nowhere.
whoa.
It's like, whoa, shit, whoa. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. That's something, yeah. Also, I kind of want to mention that just because I just think it's funny how the first time that I ever heard of Yukio Mishima wasn't because of like the movie or something like that. It was when I was watching a PewDiePie video.
Yeah.
Yeah, because fun fact, Yukio Mishima is somehow PewDiePie's favorite author. It's not the link that I expected to see, but why not?
I remember that video because I remember him talking about the books of his that he read, and I was like, that sounds fascinating. And then I just didn't think about Mishima up until getting into the Criterion collection and seeing that Mishima was a big, like, it's a pretty prominent film in the, I guess, Criterion canon. Like, it's one that a lot of people talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that's where my interest picked back up, and obviously with the podcast I was finally able to, I guess, get into watching it because, But yeah. So should we move on to?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Should we move on to patriotism?
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so
I've got a lot. I just want to say right now, I've got a lot less stuff to say about it. So
same here.
But I mean, to be fair, like, Life in 4 Chapter is 2 hours. Patriotism is 30 minutes. So obviously there's going to be a difference there.
It's not nearly as dense, but
oh yeah,
it does have, I guess, it has a lot to do with I guess the death of Mishima. I guess that's a weird way to put it, but
for sure, yeah,
you'll understand. The people listening will understand in a second.
Yeah,
but so patriotism is a a short film adaptation of Yukio Mishima's book of the same, or short story of the same name, directed and starring himself. And it is about a Japanese soldier who I believe is ordered to, or he's not ordered to, but he knows that eventually he will have to kill his fellow soldiers because they go against the emperor. And instead of going through with this, he decides to go back home that night and commit harakiri or seppuku with his wife. And that's like that is the extremely basic rundown, but there's not much other than that. It really is,
Yeah.
We see it's much like I guess in the same vein of Mishima Life in 4 Chapters, it is entirely played out on a what looks to be almost like a theater stage, almost like a theater set, at least, because we see this this home with no walls except for the back wall, and we just see them walking through these sets, but it's all done obviously in black and white. It's a silent film, actually, which is something I did not expect. And it's probably the first time that I've ever actually enjoyed a silent film, because I kind of loved this. I loved how dark it was. There's one part in particular in which the soldier actually commits suicide, and there is so much blood, and it is shot in such a way that is so like genuinely off-putting. And I'm like, oh god, it's kind of brilliant. I didn't expect that, because this is the only film Mishima ever did, and he was incredible. I think it's an incredible short film. But what did you think about Patriotism?
I kind of have like it's kind of difficult for me to get into silent movies.
I understand that.
Just like you, and I, unlike you, could not unfortunately get into it. I thought it was. I really hate to say it. I thought it was kind of boring.
That is okay. So it's like it's kind of built into like 2 or 3 very distinct sections, or I guess 4, where it's like the soldier comes home, him and his wife make love for one last time. He kills himself, and then she kills herself. I thought him coming home and him committing suicide was like obviously probably the best part of the movie, or the short film, both visually and I guess visually, and just where my interest was. I honestly wasn't paying much attention during the sex scene. I didn't really find it too interesting to get into, and neither did I find really her suicide or like her whole lead up to the suicide up until the very end. But I like to see this, I guess, less as a traditional, I don't know, film. I think it excels much more visually than it does at being, an actual entertaining film. But it's just another example of Mishima being really good visually, I think.
Yeah, there are some cool shots, like at the beginning, it's like there's a shot of the wife and a shot of the husband that is just like blended together, to be as if he was like touching her, that I thought was really well made. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like it too, and there's just a lot of other examples of that. It's like I really wanted to talk about, I guess, shine a light on patriotism, as we were talking about Mishima, because it's related in a lot of ways, but it's not exactly too conversation worthy. but I think it is really,
Yeah.
I think it is really worth the watch, especially as a companion piece to Mishima Life in Four Chapters.
Yeah.
That's, I'm pretty sure that's kind of all I had to say about Patriotism.
Yeah.
But I guess since we're done with that, I guess now, which if you haven't already, go watch the movie, go support it on whatever.
It's on the Criterion channel, so
It's on the Criterion channel. It's in the Criterion collection, wherever you can stream it. Go ahead and do that. You can watch Patriotism free on YouTube, or if you want, you can do what I did and buy the Criterion DVD version of it, which I'm glad I did, because it comes with some pretty neat extras, like an actual print version of the Patriotism short story, which I should read one of these days. Yeah, so I thought that was really cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, so yeah, I think it was like $10 too, I think, off of Amazon. That or 15. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, that's
I don't
pretty
remember.
cool.
But yeah, it was not much money, so I think it's worth it. But anyway, I guess one thing we could get into very quickly before we get into the other big topic of this episode is just kind of what we watched over the last couple weeks, because it's been about 2 weeks since we recorded our last episode. And I guess to go through mine really quickly, I was able to see Drive My Car, which is the new Ryusuke Hamaguchi film. It is 3 hours long, and I thought it was really good. I thought it was really good. There was story-wise, I guess it could have been a bit more interesting, but I loved the approach that this movie took to like real life, because it feels like you're just watching a chapter in this guy's life. Like it's really well done like that, and I love the characters. But I was able to see that. I was able to see an early theater screening of the first part of the new Kanye West documentary trilogy, Genius. Which I thought the first part of it was really good. Like, I think regardless, I guess you would have to be some form of rap fan or hip hop fan to even find it remotely interesting. But I am a Kanye West fan. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good time, and I'm really excited for the rest of the trilogy to come out on Netflix over the next couple weeks. But another thing I did was I was finally able to get my TV a nice wall mount, so I could actually not have to watch it while it's sitting on the floor anymore. So my friend and I after we saw the documentary, we came home and put that together and watched an awful film called Kung Fu Zombie. We watched on I believe it was Tubi.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it is 100 minutes, and makes absolutely no sense, and features pirated James Bond music as the villain theme. So, if you like absolutely insane, foreign kung fu films, I guess check out Kung Fu Zombie. You can watch it for free on Tubi, which, might I say, Tubi is probably the go-to source for B movies, because they have a lot of stuff on there for free. You don't even have to make an account. It's crazy. But the other stuff I watched.
Cool.
Other stuff I watched was obviously Mishima Life in Four Chapters, Patriotism, and I also watched most of the documentary that is included on the Criterion Blu-ray, called The Strange Case of Yukio Mishima, which is a documentary from 1985 from the BBC. So it was fine. I think it's not that it was bad or anything. I kind of knew everything already that it goes over, but it is a pretty it is a pretty good summation of Yukio Mishima's artistic views. But that was kind of all I watched. What'd you watch?
I actually watched quite a lot of stuff.
Ooh.
So I started with Uncle Yanko, which is a documentary by Agnes Varda that she made about her uncle who lived in San Francisco. Very wholesome and very sweet, just like anything you'd expect from her. Then I watched something completely different, Ichi the Killer by Takashi Miike.
I haven't really wanted to watch that
I had the Blu-ray for a while. It's fucking crazy. It's insane. I have never seen something like this in my life. It's honestly like it's not a masterpiece or anything like that, but it is really fun. Like I saw that with my brother, and we were just kind of like a mix of being shocked and just laughing through the whole thing. It really is it's fun, but it's like also not, because there are some pretty shocking parts. But it is really good. I thought it was really good.
That's good. That's great.
Then I did what I try to do at least once a year. I did a marathon of every single Harry Potter movie.
Oh my!
Because I am, I'm a diehard Potterhead, and I will always love the Harry Potter movies. And I have there's something in my brain that makes me just want to watch those movies at least once a year. So I did that, and I had a blast, just as always. Then I saw My Dinner with Andre, which is a movie with Wallace Shawn and Andre Gregory, which is, it's the type of movie that is purely dialogue based. It kind of similar to 12 Angry Men, which is basically the movie is those two characters that are sitting at a restaurant and talking for 2 hours. And the way I describe this type of movie is it's kind of like a podcast movie.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I felt like I was watching a podcast.
It's like if you stripped a lot of the visuals away from like the Before trilogy or something. Because if you really just break those movies down, it is like just like that, a long conversation.
Mm-hmm. And I thought the conversation was very interesting, so I really liked it.
I'm glad.
Then I saw Time Bandits by Terry Gilliam, which is one of the first movie that he directed outside of Monty Python. And I thought it was pretty good. It's not, it's not like genius, but it's really fun. Like when I think of Terry Gilliam, when I think of like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas or Brazil, I think of like very, I don't know how to explain, but like very, I can't find a word. But this felt like just kind of like a regular kids movie, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Which I know that it's more than that.
It's a little more simple than like.
Yeah. That's a good way to say it. It's simple.
Not even in a bad way. I understand that completely. Like I say that like My Neighbor Totoro is simple, and that's one of my favorite movies ever made.
Yeah. That's a great comparison.
Yeah.
And Time Bandits was really fun. I thought it was also really funny, especially the scenes with there was a scene where John Cleese plays Robin Hood, which was really funny. There were two scenes with Michael Palin and Shelley Duvall playing a couple, which they were really good. They were really funny. Then I watched something a bit more niche. I watched a Netflix documentary on a French rap group called Big Flo and Oli, which is those two brothers from the south of France that like make kind of like slam poetry, and I'm not really that into rap, but I think they're really good. So if you know French, go listen to them. Then I watched a movie that I've been meaning to watch for years, and I finally got to watch it. It's Amadeus by Milos Forman. So the movie about the life of Mozart, I was able to find the director's cut, which instead of being 2 hours and 40 minutes long, is a full 3 hours.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun. It's an amazing movie that is like so. It's I don't even know how to describe it. It's I feel like I've been saying that for the whole episode, but I've never seen something like this.
I'm holding out hope. I'm holding out hope personally for the possibility, or not almost all but confirmed possibility of the Criterion release of Amadeus, which has been rumored for years.
One day.
So I'm holding out hope.
One day.
I'm holding out hope.
I'm sure one day is gonna happen.
Oh, of course.
I'd like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest as well. But yeah, and hold on, what's his name? F. Murray Abraham was perfect. Tom Hulce as well, who played Mozart. And F. Murray Abraham, who played Salieri. Both of them were just like a perfect duo. And I thought Salieri had. I think it's because I saw Harry Potter recently, but he had kind of like a Snape-like appearance.
Yeah.
I thought he was kind of like Professor Snape, which I thought was kind of interesting. And then the last movie that I saw besides Mishima and Patriotism is, so 2 days ago was Valentine's Day, so I thought I'm going to watch a rom-com. So I saw Before Sunset.
Ooh.
So I will say I didn't like it as much as Before Sunrise, but I mean,
okay.
Yeah. It's the Before trilogy, so of course I loved it. But I don't know. I think I don't know what it is. I think it's just because it's more. I don't really know. I don't know why I liked it not as much, but
I get why you would. It's personally my favorite of the Before trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
But Before Sunset's not that, or Before Sunrise is like not that far behind. So
I think Before Sunrise is like an amazing movie.
Yes.
Yeah. And I really want it. So I saw Before Sunrise for the first time last year at Valentine's Day. And then I saw Before Sunset at this year's Valentine's Day. So I'm guessing what I'm planning to do is I'm gonna watch Before Midnight next year. So
actually,
Valentine's Day 2023.
Here's a really fun.
I'm gonna do it.
Here's a really fun idea. What if
I know where you're going.
What if Valentine's Day 2023? That's when we do our Before trilogy episode.
I'm down.
All right,
I'm down. I thought about that too.
It's in the books. It's in the books.
Uh-huh.
1 year from now, that episode will be out.
Yep. And so that's all I watched.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we get into the other big thing, sorry, just one last thing. I also forgot to mention that the Criterion announcements came out for May 2022. So
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
So we got Mr. Klein, directed by Joseph Losey. We have The Funeral, directed by Juzo Itami, which a lot of people are very happy to have another Itami in the collection, which I think is pretty great. We have Mississippi.
I'm very happy for that.
Yeah, we have Mississippi Masala by Mira Nair, I believe that's how you say it. We have the one that I am most personally interested in checking out, Chan is Missing, directed by Wayne Wang, which is from what I can tell, like an independent film made in America in like what year was this? The early 80s. And then probably the biggest film that was announced was the last film, Double Indemnity, the 4K version of Double Indemnity, which is one of the, if not like the most famous film noir ever made. Definitely one of them, because I have a lot of film professors, a lot of people I know that love Double Indemnity. So seeing it come into the collection, I was very, very, very pleasantly surprised with, and I will eventually watch it. I still haven't seen it, but yeah. Chan is Missing is definitely my pick of like the one I'm most interested in of this month.
Yeah, And mine is The Funeral, because I love Tampopo. So
Oh yeah,
I'm
no,
really curious to see another.
I would love to see that as well. But if there's nothing else to mention, I guess
I don't think there is.
I guess we should get into our big thing. So,
All right. Yep.
for months we've been waiting for this, and just last week, the Oscar 2022 nominations were revealed. And I don't know about you, I have been spoiled on a couple of them. I don't know if you've been able to stay completely blind.
No, I wasn't able to say blind.
Yeah, I was
at all.
I was spoiled on obviously Best Picture, and Best Animated, and most of the acting noms.
Yeah.
But how should we?
I was spoiled for Best Director. And I'll get into that later, but I have to talk about that one. But we'll.
Right.
Yeah,
So I guess the way that we should do this is just read off the category, read off all the nominations, and of course give what we think it should go to.
Yeah. I think what we should do is we should give which one we would personally give it to and which one we think will win, because
that's
they're
another
two different things.
That's a good one.
But yeah, so should we both look at the list, or should one give the names to the other?
We should. Okay, here's a good idea. So I'm on the Oscars website, obviously. I think we should both look at that list and then trade off. Go one read, the other read.
Oh, as if we were announcing ourselves, right?
Or I mean we read one of us reads a category and the other one reads a category.
All right, I thought one was the nominees are, one says this one, the other says this one. Yeah, no, that works. That works.
So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You go first. I don't have the page up yet.
Okay, so I will begin with actor in a leading role. So the nominees are Javier Bardem in Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch in The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield in Tick, Tick, Boom, Will Smith in King Richard, and Denzel Washington in The Tragedy of Macbeth. A couple surprises and a couple non-surprises is all I'll say, or is what I'll say to begin.
Yeah.
I figured
Denzel had to be there.
Yeah, I figured Denzel and Will Smith were locked in for sure. I'm very surprised, or I'm not very surprised, but I'm pleasantly surprised to see Andrew Garfield there. The only issue with this list of nominees is I have not seen a single film on this list. So I have some catching up to do.
I've seen one.
I don't really have any desire to watch Being the Ricardos, unfortunately. Right. But I will probably end up watching definitely Tragedy of Macbeth and Tick, Tick, Boom. But I'll probably end up watching Power of the Dog and King Richard as well, just to kind of round it out.
Yeah.
But if we're thinking, I can't really say in terms of what my personal choice would be, but I have a feeling as to what yours might be.
Yeah, well, if we're going perfectly who we would want to win, Tick, Tick, Boom is my favorite movie of 2021, and I feel like a lot of that is because of Andrew Garfield's performance, which is the best he's given in his entire career, and it was one of the best performances I've seen in a while, and it's the fact that it was nominated, I'm just so happy. I have to give it, also because I haven't seen the other movies, so by default I give it to him. But if we have to talk about who we think will win, I'm gonna have to say someone else, because I doubt that they're gonna actually give it to him.
Unfortunately, I'm in the same camp. I'm kind of thinking, if we're going with what I think the Academy will choose, I think they'll choose Will Smith.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty definite.
I'm
thinking
Will Smith as well.
I think Denzel would be a very pleasant surprise. And obviously Andrew Garfield would be
Javier Bardem.
As well.
Javier Bardem, I love him. Never happening. Not for this one.
You don't think so?
It's just I don't know. I feel like no one's been talking about this movie. I felt like it's kind of just out
no,
of nowhere.
I didn't hear about this movie until we read off the Golden Globes last time.
Same. Yeah.
So, you know,
to some extent, I could potentially maybe see Benedict Cumberbatch. I haven't seen Power of the Dog, so maybe he's I've heard he's actually really good in that one.
Oh yeah, I've heard
a lot of good stuff.
I've heard
about
great
his
things as well.
performance.
So you know, maybe that one is like incredible. So I guess we'll.
Yeah.
I guess
I will definitely watch it before the Oscars.
Oh yeah, no, same here. That remains to be seen. Which we have a lot of time before these Oscars, like more than we've had in a while. Because these, I believe,
I think we've got a month.
They aren't until March 27th. I think that has to be the latest that the Oscars.
Fuck.
That has to be like the latest that the Oscars been in like years, at least.
Yeah, it is. It is very late.
Yeah, because I remember 2020 at least was like February. But like, you know,
it was before COVID.
Yeah, so, I guess that leaves a actor in a supporting role. Which would you like to take that away?
Yes. So we've got I'm gonna try to pronounce that correctly. Karen Hines. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. For Belfast. Then we've got Tror Kotsur for Coda. Then we've got Jesse Plemons for the Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons for being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith McPhee for the Power of the Dog again.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't seen a single one of those movies.
Neither have I.
I gotta mention because before the nominations were announced, I'd never heard of Coda.
Neither have I.
But then I heard people talking about like, Oscar-nominated movie. So I went to read the synopsis, and I heard that it's about a family of, like, you know, a fully deaf family, except for the daughter, which can hear, and who also really loves singing. And it creates this weird situation where she's passionate for singing, and the parents want to support her, but they can't, like, you know, they can't hear her. And I saw that, and I was like, weird. I've seen this movie before. And that's because this is a remake of a French movie that I saw when I was in high school.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because that's something that's interesting is that in the US, when the Hollywood producers see a movie that they want to like bring audience to see that is in the foreign movie, instead of dubbing it like other countries would, they're gonna fully remake it.
Yeah,
which I think is really weird.
It is strange. I famously, have, or at least like infamously in our podcast, have been pretty adamant against foreign or American remakes of foreign films. I've kind of cooled down a bit on that opinion in the last few months. You know, I still don't like it, but it's still something that I don't really get angry about it anymore. But I am interested to see Coda.
But I think Coda actually has better reviews than the original.
Oh.
So I'll have to see that.
I guess we'll have to see.
So I don't know. I don't have a personal opinion, but except the fact that I would like to see J.K. Simmons winning an Oscar.
Yeah, I was about to say, like,
but that's just because I love J.K. Simmons.
If we're talking purely about like love for the actors, I would love to see either Jesse Plemons or J.K. Simmons take it home because I love both of them.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. The only one in this category that I know is J.K. Simmons. Maybe J.C. Plemons. The name sounds familiar. Him. Oh yeah. I like him to win. Yeah.
I love that.
I don't know the other ones. He was really good in I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
Oh yeah, no, he's incredible.
Really
he's
good
incredible in that movie. That's what put him. That's what put him on the map in my mind. Where it's like, oh, this guy's incredible. Like obviously, I'd seen like other stuff with him in it before, but like that one was like, oh,
yeah.
But yeah, that one's a little hard to call right now since we haven't seen any of them.
Right.
But I guess to get into a actress in a leading role, we have Jessica Chastain in The Eyes of Tammy Faye. We have Olivia Colman in The Lost Daughter. We have Penelope Cruz in Parallel Mothers. We have Nicole Kidman in Being the Ricardos. And we have Kristen Stewart in Spencer. Let's go!
Yeah.
To tell you about how nervous I was that this wasn't going to make it in, I was legitimately scared that I was never going to see this happen. But it happened, and she better win.
Yeah.
But I would be fine seeing... I'd be fine seeing Olivia Colman win because I know how much you like her.
Well, all right. I will say I adore Olivia Colman. She's my favorite actress of all time.
Right.
If she was to win another Oscar, I feel like this one wasn't as good. Like no, that wasn't as good. It wasn't as mind blowing as her performance in The Favorite, or I've heard a lot of good stuff about her performance in The Father, which she was nominated for. I think she was nominated like almost 3 years in a row. Like the only year in the past 4 years that she wasn't nominated is 2020 because she didn't make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So fuck yeah, good for her. But yeah, honestly, I've heard so many things about Kristen Stewart. I would like to see her win, especially because she's like, her and Robert Pattinson are still being labeled as the actors from Twilight, and I think they've both been able to prove that they're much more than that, and they're actually really good actors.
Yes.
Who when they care for a role, they can be really, really good.
Oh yes, no, and it's out in the U.S. I'm not too sure about anywhere else, but in the U.S., Spencer is now on Hulu, which I don't know how many of you out there actually have Hulu.
Ooh.
But if you would like to watch the movie, it is there. I recommend it more than anything. If it weren't for Bo Burnham's Inside and Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, that'd be my favorite of the year. And I think it's genuinely incredible. But I've sung its praises enough on here. I just think it'd be nice to see her win.
Yeah. I am gonna have to watch it before.
Oh yeah. No,
Oscars,
I highly recommend that you do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not on a streaming service here, but it is like I can rent it on YouTube. So I'm gonna do that.
That's okay. So, actress in a supporting role then?
Yeah, we've got Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter, Ariana DeBose, DeBose, I don't know, for West Side Story, Judi Dench for Belfast, Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog, Anjanu Ellis for King Richard. So I'm not sure. The only one that I've seen is Jessie Buckley in The Lost Daughter, which she was very good.
And obviously, the only thing I've seen of Jessie Buckley, I'm pretty sure, is her lead role in I'm Thinking of Ending Things. So I'm not
right.
I would like to see her win because she's the only performance out of all these that I've seen. Or not, or she's the only actress out of all these that I really have a good opinion about. Or, not that I don't like the other ones. It's just,
Yeah.
I like Jessie Buckley. So
I will say
I can't really say that.
I think she deserved an Oscar more for I'm Thinking of Ending Things than The Lost Daughter. Which can I just bring out the fact that I'm Thinking of Ending Things was completely snubbed by the Oscars.
Not even a single Oscar. How is that possible?
Last year was such a horrible year for the Oscars. Like, there was nothing interesting. But they could have nominated I'm Thinking of Ending Things. And they didn't.
They didn't, and it's so insane. What? Like, how do you not even give it like best actor or anything, or like best adapted screenplay? How? I'm genuinely so.
How?
I'm so perplexed by that nomination. But
it makes no sense. It's probably I think the best movie of 2020.
Oh, it's not even a probably in my mind, but it's like it's.
I'm just yeah. I'm saying probably because I don't really remember which movies came out that year, but I'll have to check. Yeah. But yeah, I don't really know who I would give it to.
Yeah. It's another one that I don't really have an opinion on at the moment.
I think honestly, they could give it to anyone. I'd be fine.
Mm.
Like, if there isn't anything outrageous about this category this year.
Oh yeah. So I guess for animated feature film, which is one that I have some opinions on. We have Encanto, Flea, Luca, The Mitchells versus the Machines, and Raya and the Last Dragon.
All right, this is. Can I just say?
Yes.
Every year is the same thing. It is the most predictable category every single year.
Mostly every year, yes.
I'm not even gonna say I think this is gonna win because we all know that Encanto is gonna win.
Oh, of course,
right?
Yeah. It's
of course.
I think
way.
Mitchell's vs. the Machines has a decent chance because it's Sony Pictures Animations and they did Spider-Verse. It's the same people who worked on Spider-Verse, so I think it has a good chance. I personally haven't seen the movie yet.
All right,
so I don't know.
I'm gonna say, I get your opinion, but it's a Sony movie against 3 Disney movies.
Okay,
not
listen,
2, 3.
Listen,
yeah.
if Ryan the Last Dragon gets anything, I'm gonna lose my mind. Have you seen this movie? I haven't watched it.
No, but I've heard things.
Have you seen what it looks like?
I know.
Holy shit, dude! It's the most. It's the most insane thing. I still haven't seen it. I was with my friend the other night. We were looking on YouTube, and I saw a thumbnail, just a thumbnail of something from Ryan the Last Dragon. I'm like, oh, that's terrible looking. Is that in the movie? He was like, yes. Oh my god. I don't even know if I could find it again. But oh my goodness. But okay.
But
I will. Okay.
The thing is.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, a lot of people know the Oscars are broadcast on ABC, and ABC is a channel that is owned by Disney.
Yes.
So they unfortunately have an advantage against any other studio by default. So the fact that they've got 3, no matter the quality, just the fact that they've got 3 Disney movies just means that Flea and The Mitchells vs. the Machines have not a single chance.
The chances are so low.
Low.
But I will.
If they win, I will be happy. But
I will say, the nomination of Flea is a very pleasant surprise. Because that's something I've been wanting to watch for a little while. And now that it's on Hulu in the U.S., I'm really going to be watching it one of these days soon.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and Luca's here too.
Of course, Luca. I haven't seen that one either, but
I haven't seen that one. You know, I saw a lot of fan art on Twitter.
The only one I saw out of this list was Encanto, but I plan on watching Mitchell's. I plan on watching.
Oh yeah.
I plan on watching Mitchell's vs. the Machines and Flea, and if I have time, Luca. But that's not required.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to watch Encanto.
Yeah, I think it's worth watching at least once. Like I think it's pretty alright.
Yeah, I think I like it.
I think you'll like it because it's Lin-Manuel Miranda does the music.
Yeah, I like the songs that I heard. Yeah. So I'm guessing I like it. Cinematography now.
Yes.
So we've got Dune, cinematography by Greg Fraser. Nightmare Alley with Dan Lawson. The Power of the Dog by Ari Wegner. The Tragedy of Macbeth by Bruno Delbonnel, which I think I know this name. I don't remember what from, though. And then West Side Story by Janusz Kaminski. Why do I have so much trouble pronouncing those names? Jesus fucking Christ.
I guess if we have to be giving
Yeah.
personal opinions here, I've only seen Dune and Nightmare Alley, and
Yeah.
I think there are things to appreciate about the both of them. At least this is speaking from someone who's currently only seen the black and white version of Nightmare Alley, which gives the movie a much more dark and like otherworldly feeling. Like, it's really well done. It's a really well done black and white version. But anyway, Dune is so like grand, and the way that they show off a lot of their stuff is really good. My only issue with it is I'm not a huge fan of like desert settings. So visually, this one was always a little faded to kind of fall out of good graces with me. But I think it still does a really good job. And obviously, I did just give a lot of praise to Nightmare Alley, so Nightmare Alley is my current choice.
Yeah.
That might change once I see Tragedy Macbeth. I will not be watching West Side Story. I apologize, but that's just ain't gonna happen because I am not interested. Much like
it's to some extent, if you know you're not gonna like it, I don't think you should watch it.
Of course not. Yeah, it's not even that I know I'm not gonna like it or anything. It's just I just am not interested. Like personally, it's not the kind of movie that I want to see. So I am going to try to watch it because, like, Steven Spielberg in musicals, yes, please. But, all right. So, the only movies in that category that I've seen is Dune. I have seen the trailers for the other movies, and I've seen pictures. And so, West Side Story, the cinematography was one of the, I think it was one of the, like, biggest, like, thing going for it in the original. Like, there were a lot of really cool shots. Tragedy of Macbeth, I've seen a lot of very good-looking shots on Twitter. Power of the Dog seems a bit like, I don't know. It's like it's not bad or anything, but it's just a bit more basic. I guess a bit flat. I understand.
A bit, less, not as Oscar worthy. And Nightmare Alley, I saw the trailer, there were a few shots in the trailer that I thought were really good looking, especially there was one with Bradley Cooper sitting on a chair in a house that was like on fire.
Oh yeah, no, those shots are so good.
Yeah, that shot was really good. But I don't think, like, if it's like who we think is gonna win, I don't think any of those movies stand a chance against Dune.
Yeah,
like,
it's probably not.
If if Dune has to win a category, it's this one.
Yeah. But
yeah.
I'm trying to think. Oh, if we're also going to be mentioning what we think was snubbed, I'm very surprised that Green Knight isn't in here. Because I think that movie was.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
I guess I'm not surprised, but I guess I'm just.
I know what you're saying.
I'm very much like, it kind of seems like it'd be there. I don't know. I think it's a pretty good movie visually. It's probably the best thing about that movie.
Yeah.
But hindsight's 20/20 too.
Yeah.
So.
I just want to mention. I said how the name Bruno Delbonnel seemed familiar to me. I googled him. He's the guy who made the cinematography for Amelie.
Oh, really?
So, two very aesthetically pretty movies, but in two very different ways. So yeah.
Yeah. So moving on to another a category that I honestly have no opinion on. Costume design.
Same.
We have Cruella, Cyrano, Dune, Nightmare Alley, and West Side Story. I don't care. I honestly have never cared about this category.
It's like the fact that Cruella got a nomination is mind blowing to me. But if it had to get in the category, it's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion for that either.
I don't either. Let's just move on to directing.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, hold on.
Oh?
No, never mind. I don't have an opinion. All right. I thought I could find something, but I genuinely have no idea what's gonna win for that one. I have no clue. It's gonna be one of those. That's for sure.
That if there's one thing I can know for sure, it's one of those.
Yeah. So, all right. Directing. I'm glad that I'm announcing this one because I said I have to talk about this one. So, we've got Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, Ryusuke Hamaguchi for Drive My Car, Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog, and Steven Spielberg for West Side Story.
I gotta say, this category looks nearly nothing like I thought it would. In a good way.
They snubbed Denis! Bitch! What the fuck? Dude! Are you fucking kidding me? For fuck's sake! This, alright,
Go ahead.
you gotta understand.
You gotta go off, man.
This is my Spencer. This is the one winner that I wanted to see. And he wasn't nominated? Denis motherfucking Villeneuve. And, alright, I've been very, very vocal about how proud I am to see a Quebecer director having so much success in Hollywood and making such good movies, and yet he's never won an Oscar. He was nominated for, I think it was nominated for Blade Runner, maybe for Arrival, I'm not sure, but I thought, dude is like a fucking masterpiece. He's got to win that one. This is like the movie he was made to win an Oscar for, and they did not nominate him. Dude, they what the fuck? They gave a nomination to Kenneth fucking Branagh. No way for Kenneth Branagh, but like, why? Why? What the fuck?
That is the most.
It's like,
that is the most French rage I have ever heard. Like, if I had anything to describe that is amazing. Oh my god, that might be that might be one of my favorite moments of our show, honestly. Oh god,
it's like, all right. I have nothing against any of those directors, right? I'm very happy to see Ryusuke Hamaguchi. I'm very happy to see someone who is not American. That's a surprise, and it's a very good surprise.
Oh yeah,
Paul Thomas Anderson. Fuck yeah,
absolutely, Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah. Jane Campion. Always nice to see a female director. We don't see enough of those. Mm-hmm. We've got two female directors nominated in 2 years in a row. That's really fucking cool. Hell yeah, girl power. Steven Spielberg. Yeah, fucking Steven Spielberg. What do you want me to say? You know, it's like,
yeah,
fucking Steven Spielberg. I don't have anything to say besides his name. But like, dude, for fuck's sake, where's Denis? Where is he?
He's not here. It's an issue, but he's not here. Oh my god.
That's a fucking shame.
I mean, all
yeah.
Literally all I have to say about this category is I think Ryusuke Hamaguchi being there is an extremely pleasant surprise. He did a fantastic job. Paul Thomas Anderson, I gotta say I'm not surprised to see him there, but I am happy. I'm happy that he's there.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree though.
So,
I agree that the fact that Denis is not there is extremely like, okay. Because even if I didn't think Dune was like Dune was like the best movie, it is extremely well put together, and there's no one who can like not admit that. So.
It's like, if he had been nominated, I obviously would have like wished for him to win, but I would have said, like, if there's any director that could win, it's him in that category. But since he's not there, I'm gonna say that I hope Ryusuke Hamaguchi wins, just for the same reason that I hoped that Bong Joon-ho won, just because, like, you know, an Asian director who directed a movie in Asia and not in Hollywood being nominated
I agree.
is always really amazing to see. Paul Thomas Anderson would obviously be cool.
Mm-hmm. I'm particularly rooting for Ryusuke because I think it's the same situation with Bong Joon-ho and Parasite, is because it's like not only was it an incredibly directed movie, it's also just a really good movie. And it's obviously like, you know, giving more recognition to international filmmakers, which, you know, I'm a big guy for that. More of that. But I guess to move on to the next category, we have a documentary feature with Ascension, Attica, Flea, Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised, and Writing with Fire. Genuinely, I am only going to watch Flea and Summer of Soul because my friend loves Summer of Soul.
Yeah.
I'm only going to watch those two. The others, I do not care too much about, unfortunately. But that's just how it is.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like, it's never a category that I'm very familiar with. The only documentary that I saw this year was Sparks Brothers, which I knew wasn't going to be nominated because it's not that kind of movie,
right?
And I'm fine with that. But yeah, I'm guessing Flea because it's like I'm guessing they're going to be like, oh well, the Flea didn't win animation, so we're going to give it for a documentary. I'm guessing that's going to be it.
I'm thinking Summer of Soul has a big chance because it got a pretty big
it
got a pretty big release here, and obviously Questlove is a big name, and Questlove like helmed the entire project.
Yeah.
So you know, I think both of those have a very good shot to win, and I don't know anything about the others, so I can't say.
Right.
If you just want to quickly go over documentary short subject, unless you have a pretty big opinion about it.
Then documentary short subject. We've got Audible, Lead Me Home, The Queen of Basketball, 3 Songs of Benazir, and When We Were Bullies. I have not heard of a single one of those because I'm not a documentary guy.
Unfortunately. And much like every other year, I have also not heard of any of these, unfortunately. When We Were Bullies sounds interesting. I might give it a watch, especially because these are short. Especially because it's a short subject. You know, it won't take long. I'll give it a watch. But you know.
Yeah, sure. It's like every year for the Oscars, I always have a lot of catching up to do to, like, you know, follow the ceremony, and this is always a category that I can, like, you know, don't try to catch up because it's, you know, those films are only going to be nominated for this one category.
Yeah.
So I prefer spending time to watch like other films that are going to come back.
No, I totally agree. But this next one, this next one's big. We got film editing. I'm gonna read this one out of order because I have a lot to say about one of them.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
We have Dune, edited by Joe Walker. We have King Richard, edited by Pamela Martin. We have The Power of the Dog, edited by Peter Skibaris. We have Tick Tick Boom, edited by Myron Kirstein and Andrew Weisblum. And we have fucking Don't Look Up, edited by Hank Corwin. Are you shitting me? Don't Look Up, really? Best editing?
Oh, dude.
That movie...
They
It's not even that it's because it's a bad movie. That movie is horrendously edited. Oh my god.
You know what they did?
What?
They pulled the Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh my god, they totally did. Okay, here's the...
They did exactly the same thing as Bohemian Rhapsody.
Here's the baffling thing about Don't Look Up for me right now. It does this thing that is so goddamn annoying. And I don't know if I mentioned this when I was talking about how much I don't like this movie. They do this thing like 5 times throughout the movie where they put in random stock footage for no reason and call it a scene transition. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen.
Oh, that's weird.
It's really bad. It's like really bad. Like I honestly am more baffled about this than Bohemian Rhapsody. Obviously, Bohemian Rhapsody was a horribly edited movie. But Jesus Christ. Sure, really? I'm sure Hank Corwin's a talented guy. I'm sure he's done some great editing in the past. But oh my god.
I am Googling him right now.
But oh my god, really? I'm gonna have a lot to say about Don't Look Up in a few minutes. But
Yeah.
but this is absolutely insane. Give it to Dune. I haven't seen any of the others, so I don't know. But give it to Dune. Do not
give it to Dune.
Do not give it to Don't Look Up.
So from the looks of it, he's mainly edited like Adam McKay movies.
Oh.
He did The Big Short. He did Vice. He also did The Tree of Life by Terrence Malick.
Really?
Why not? Oh, he did also The New World and Song to Song, which I've heard is really bad, but that's another thing.
Okay.
And that's he did other films that I'm not. Oh, he did the Jimi Hendrix biopic, which my brother's been telling me how horrible it is.
Oh God.
So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Move on. We're moving on.
Yeah.
International feature film.
International.
Let's go.
International feature film. That's a good one. That's a good one. I am loving this right now.
Yeah,
so we got Drive My Car, obviously. Got Flea. So Drive My Car from Japan. Flea from Denmark. The Hand of God from Italy, which I'm not familiar with.
Neither am I.
Lunana, A Yak in the Classroom from Bhutan, which again not heard of.
That sounds.
And we got the worst.
That sounds absolutely insane. Go on to the next one.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
We've got The Worst Person in the World from Norway.
I have not seen this movie yet, but I'm so excited to see it.
I want to watch it so bad. It seems so good. I've heard by so many people this like the best film of 2021.
Oh yeah, I've heard that too. It's getting a US theatrical release pretty soon.
Yeah.
So I'm really wanting to go out and see it because I've seen so many good things. I saw the trailer. I really liked it. But yeah, I'm really excited to see that one. For now, though, I'll give it to the only one I've seen, which is Drive My Car, and I would be very surprised if anything topped that. But you know,
I generally don't know which is. I'm guessing it's in between Drive My Car and The Worst Person in the World. I generally don't know who's gonna win.
Yeah,
but I gotta be one of them. Oh shit, what was it? Oh yeah. Recently I found a video that was an interview of Joachim Trier, who's the guy who directed The Worst Person in the World, and he was talking about his previous movies. And honestly, like, I'm gonna have to check them out.
Oh yeah,
because they look very, very good.
I'm pretty sure Ryusuke Hamaguchi also directed another like really long feature in 2021. Like the same year as Drive My Car. So the fact that he did both of those in like a very short time span, crazy stuff. But I'll update more on that once I've seen the other one he's done, which I believe is called Wheel of Fortune. I'm not entirely sure.
But all right, I have it in front of me. Wheel of Fortune and Fantasy, and it's a 2-hour-long movie.
That's still pretty long.
That considering they made it another 3-hour-long movie, that's insane.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I guess that's it for that category.
Yeah. And now we have makeup and hairstyling with the nominees. Coming to America, Cruella, Dune, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and House of Gucci. I have no opinion.
First time seeing House of Gucci on the list. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure this is the only time.
Yeah,
but House of Gucci.
Probably.
But House of Gucci. They made Jared Leto look like a old Italian man. So you know that goes for something, I guess.
You know what this category is? This is exactly the same thing as a few years ago when they nominated The 11th Hour with Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill, which is the only reason why it's nominated is because a character has very like face changing makeup. And honestly, I'm gonna give it to House of Gucci just for that, because like, you know, I've heard a lot of bad stuff about the makeup in The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Oh really?
I don't know. Yeah, I've heard that it looks pretty bad. Coming to America and Cruella are kind of like the random movies in the list. And Dune, there's a lot of good stuff about Dune, makeup and hairstyling is another thing that is like, whoa.
Yeah,
it's like what? Contact lenses for the blue eyes. Is that all? Is that all?
Is that all?
Like from what I know, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give it to House of Gucci just for that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
now we've got best original score. So we've got Don't Look Up, scored by Nicholas Britell. Dune, scored by Hans Zimmer. Encanto, scored by Germain Franco. Parallel Mothers, scored by Alberto Iglesias. And The Power of the Dog, scored by Johnny Greenwood. There is a clear winner.
There is
for me in that category.
There's a clear winner because there's one movie that's left out. But go ahead. I think there's a pretty big snubbing here, at least in my opinion. But obviously, I think Dune is the pretty clear cut winner here.
I don't know what movie you're talking about right now, to be honest.
I'm talking about Spencer. But. It was another score done by Johnny Greenwood, which I have not heard the Power of the Dog score, obviously.
Right.
But Johnny Greenwood in Spencer, the score is like haunting. It's really good. I'm not one to usually like remember the score of a movie unless it's like exceptionally good or exceptionally bad. So I think that should have at least been nominated, but it's not. I got my Spencer nomination, which was Kristen Stewart. I didn't even care about it being in Best Picture or not.
Yeah.
But obviously, don't look up as a laughing stock of a nomination. But
is the score bad or
it's just nothing. Like there's just nothing to say.
For me, like Hans Zimmer.
Oh yeah,
hands down.
Obviously,
like I've just like how much I felt the bass in the theater. That like that's kind of stupid to say, but like
I understand.
Just in general, like just from the trailer, there was like this chant in the trailer that I thought was like, I don't know, that immediately put me in the vibe of Dune. And I know I've heard from interviews that Hans Zimmer was very inspired by this movie, and that he like they weren't even done with the first movie, that he was already starting to write music for the second movie. Just to show like how inspired he was by that. So it's pretty cool. So I'm definitely gonna give it to Hans Zimmer.
I would probably give it to Hans Zimmer as well. But music. But here's for best music original song. We have "Be Alive" from King Richard. We have "Dos." I'm sorry if I mispronounced this. "Dos Oruguitas" from Encanto, which is not the choice I would have had. Obviously, I probably would have chosen. I probably would have chosen Bruno, but that's because that's really the only song I enjoy listening to from Encanto. Not that the rest are bad or anything. It's just my personal favorite. Down to Joy from Belfast. No Time to Die from No Time to Die. Somehow You Do from 4 Good Days, which I have never heard of 4 Good Days before this. So
me neither.
So the only one I've heard is Dos Oruguitas, so I'd probably say that one. I wouldn't actually. No, I've heard No Time to Die. It's a Billie Eilish song.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really much else I can say. It's not even like a particularly like experimental Billie Eilish song. It's pretty by the numbers, what Billie Eilish would usually do. Not that it's bad or anything. It's just not much.
I would actually disagree. Now that's all right. Here comes the small singing analysis part of the video.
Oh, go ahead.
With Billie Eilish, we're used with a very soft voice. Some will say a whisper voice.
Yes.
That is so like iconic with her. But for that for that song, especially at the end, the last one of the song, she really like used a lot more of a belting technique, which is like when you're singing high chest notes. If like you know what I mean, right?
Yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Which is not typical of her, and I thought that sounded really good. But besides, also it's like not as electronic as her usual stuff.
Yeah, that too.
It's more orchestral.
Yeah,
which fits very well. I feel with her voice.
I would
actually say that it's not.
I was mainly talking in the melody of her voice in the track. So I thought it was much more.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought it was much more like reminiscent of her songs like Lovely or like what are some other like tracks that, like When the Party's Over. Like I thought it was very typical of those tracks, but I mainly pay attention to that stuff because melody's really the only thing that I am proficient at with music in terms of recognizing. The other stuff I'm kind of hazy on.
Sure. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to I don't know. I really don't know which one's gonna win.
Yeah, neither do I. I think it's a pretty big toss up this year. I guess we'll have to see. I was wondering.
You know what? I like Billie Eilish. I'm gonna give it to her.
Okay, yeah, that's a good choice. I was gonna ask you if you wanted to save Best Picture for last because I know that's on the next part of the list. You want to save that for last? Oh, yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'd like to.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can still read it. I don't care what turn we're on, but I just feel like we should get through the rest of them.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I mean, the other ones are a bit more. Oh, well, there is writing though.
Oh yeah.
Writing is like a very important one.
That's a big one.
So. That's a big one. So hold on. Production design.
Yeah.
Got Dune, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. Kind of always the same movies.
Yeah.
As usual.
I'd probably have to go with Dune. I mean, it's not that big of not that big of an opinion, I guess, but Nightmare Alley I thought was really well put together, but Dune was just so massive in scale that it's kind of hard to deny it. I can't really say much though for the other three nominees because I haven't seen them, obviously. But I guess we'll have to see with that.
Right. We can skip both short film categories.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them.
I don't know them.
Yeah. Very sorry to all of the short film nominees.
Yeah.
I mean, good. I always think it's awesome when short films get into the Oscars because it's just like, I love that category. I love seeing that kind of stuff get spotlighted, but unfortunately, I just haven't seen any of them, and I don't think you have either.
No.
But I guess, we could go through sound, which is the next category after that, which is Belfast, Dune, No Time to Die, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. I didn't think any of them were exactly related, in terms of like, okay, that was a weird word choice of words. I don't know why I said that. I was gonna say I don't know. When I think of those movies, the first thing that does not come to mind was the sound is really good. Because I never notice it unless that's the purpose of sound in a movie is that you're not really supposed to notice it, because if you notice that the sound in the movie is there,
that is true.
It's probably pretty bad. Like if you're thinking about the sound, it's probably not good.
Unless you're like an audio engineer nerd.
Oh yeah.
Who's like really into the. So, I mean, I'm sure there are people like that.
Of course.
I'm sure they exist.
Yeah.
So that's a category for them, but that's not a category that we are really like.
Yeah. Not
the right people to describe.
Not exactly well versed in it.
Yep.
But go ahead.
So
with
visual effects. We got that's a crazy one. We've got Dune. We've got Free Guy. We've got No Time to Die. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and Spider-Way No Way Home.
All right,
that's a crazy one.
That is okay. So first of all,
Free Guy.
So okay, we'll get to that. Dune, I think it belongs there, because I love the.
I think it's amazing.
I love the sense of scale that everything has. The sandworms are insane looking. Spider-Man No Way Home obviously does a great job. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings was kind of dodgy at times with their CGI, but it wasn't bad or anything. No Time to Die.
Yeah.
How the visual effects are barely noticeable.
Does it even have CGI?
Nah, I mean, of course it has CGI, but like none of it's noticeable to a point where I'm like,
same thing as
to a point where I'm like, oh, look at that. No, I had nothing there really. Free Guy though.
Yeah.
Free Guy.
Yeah.
Free Guy is by no means a terrible movie. I think it's just below average. Visually though,
Sure.
What? It's just it doesn't stand out. I don't really remember anything from Free Guy, if I'm being honest. Like thinking about Free Guy right now, nothing really sticks out in my mind as like really like, oh my god, that was so good, that scene in Free Guy, or that visual effect in Free Guy. So none of it really gets me. I'm like, oh yes. But I don't so I don't know. I'd probably say either Dune or Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are going to be rooting for Spider-Man No Way Home, but I'm going to give it to Dune.
Oh yeah, I think Dune did more with their visual effects. That's what I'll say.
But honestly though, if Spider-Man No Way Home wins, I'm not going to be mad.
Oh, neither am I.
I'm going to like, oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we've got both writing categories.
Okay. Whose turn is it? I lost track. Is it mine?
It's your turn.
Okay. Writing, adapted screenplay. We have Coda. Screenplay by oh boy. I'm sorry. Cian Heater. I'm so sorry, my guy. All right.
Yeah.
Drive My Car.
I think it might be Sean.
Sean. It could be Sean.
It might be, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Drive My Car. Screenplay by Ryusuke Hamaguchi and Takamasa Oe. I like that choice. Dune. Screenplay by John Spates, Denis Villeneuve, and Eric Roth. The Lost Daughter, written by Maggie Gyllenhaal, and The Power of the Dog, written by Jane Campion. I think it's pretty obvious where I stand. Drive My Car.
Yeah.
Really good. It's really well.
Honestly,
really well. Really well written.
From what I know, I've heard that it's a very like screenplay based movie, so it would make sense to give it to that. The only one that I've seen are Dune and The Lost Daughter, and I would give it to The Lost Daughter before giving it to Dune, because Dune is not a movie where like the dialogue is the most important part. It's more of what it makes you feel,
Desert,
something like that.
Desert power.
Desert spice. Yeah.
Desert power. That was the thing my friends and I were quoting like the week after we saw Dune. It was just always, whenever we see each other, Desert power would come out somehow.
Oh, that's funny. And then we've got writing. Oh shit! All right. We got Belfast by Kenneth Branagh. Don't Look Up by screenplay by Adam McKay. Story by Adam McKay and David Sirota. King Richard, written by Zach Balin. Licorice Pizza, written by Paul Thomas Anderson. Ooh. And The Worst Person in the World, written by Eskil Vogt and Joachim Trier.
Woo!
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Those last two nominees are great.
I am voting for The Worst Person in the World, even though I haven't seen a single one of those movies. I'm voting for Worst Person in the World.
I'd probably say Licorice Pizza, even though I don't think that the story is the strongest thing about it. I'll still have to see The Worst Person in the World, and I'll give an update when I have seen it. Don't Look Up, no.
Yeah.
But I guess that that only leaves one category.
Yeah.
Which is, it's the big one. It's the big
The
boy.
big one.
It's the one that everyone always remembers from the Oscars. Would you like to take it away?
Well, we can do. It's 8 movies, so we can do half.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you do the first 4.
All right.
I'll do the.
I'm gonna start.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna say every name for like the nominees because that's a lot.
It's a lot.
So we got Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car. Hold on, it's more than.
Oh, it's
how many?
it's 9, I think.
All right.
Oh no, actually, wait, no, it's. Is it 10? Do we have 10 Best Picture nominees?
It's 10.
Woo!
We've got 10 Best Picture nominees. So Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune,
King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story.
So kind of the expected ones.
Yes. I'm very happy that Drive My Car got a nomination, and that's what I'm going to be rooting for this time around. Obviously, I assume that you're on the Dune train.
I am, yeah.
Yeah, which is not a bad choice at all.
I mean, we can all agree that it's a really good movie.
Yes.
I do kind of wish that the worst person in the world had been nominated instead of like Don't Look Up.
But
I mean, we've already got one. We've already got one foreign movie, so that's already good.
Yes.
Like compared to previous ceremonies.
Yeah, that's.
Do you want to go?
What's that?
Do you want to go into? Do you want to go into Don't Look Up or?
Oh, Phil, I'd love to. Holy shit, dude! Are you serious? Oh my god! Don't Look Up in the Best Picture category? That is insane.
Yeah.
Okay, literally, the editing is awful. The comedy does not land at all. The main performers are not good. Leonardo DiCaprio is probably the only one, and it's because he's Leonardo DiCaprio. Of course he's gonna be good. Jennifer Lawrence isn't good. Mark Rylance is awful. Oh my god, the writing. How did it get Best Writing? How did it get in here? Timothy Chalamet shows up for 8 minutes and is not good at all. What the hell?
Yeah.
Whole plot lines are introduced and then just let go in this 2.5 hour long movie. Holy shit.
You did make me think. Isn't it weird that Timothy Chalamet wasn't nominated for anything?
Yeah, that's actually pretty insane. He was in a lot of big movies this year.
He was in a lot of stuff. Like, first of all, I kind of get why Dune wasn't really like the I don't know, not the thing that I would have given him an Oscar.
Oh yeah, neither would have I.
But hold on. Oh yeah. Holy shit! Do you realize that the French Dispatch was completely snubbed?
Yeah, that was something else I was going to talk about. The French Dispatch was completely snubbed, as was The Last Duel.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised about The Last Duel because Ridley Scott was not pushing that one. He was pushing House of Gucci, and it still didn't get nominated for much.
Yeah, it got makeup, and it got. What else did it get? It only got makeup. It got 1 nomination.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, though, isn't it?
There are so many movies.
There was. Hold on. Let me look at what was snubbed.
There was literally so many movies you could have put ahead of Don't Look Up in the Best Picture category. Yeah. You could have had French Dispatch. You could have had Spencer. You could have had. Hang on. You could have had Titan. Titan didn't even get nominated. And it won the Palme d'Or.
No, it got nothing. No, that's what I was thinking.
Palme
It got
d'Or.
the Palme d'Or.
Excuse
and
me.
it
I said that
nothing.
wrong.
This is fine. I forgive you. But no, it won that and it got nothing. Last Night in Seoul got nothing, but am I surprised?
Oh, I'm not surprised.
No.
I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that Drive My Car is there because honestly, if Drive My Car wasn't there, I don't think I'd care.
I did not expect that at all.
Yeah.
I never that and The Worst Person in the World, never saw that. I never saw it coming.
Never saw it coming. I will say another personal snub I think for the best animated feature was the fact that both Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 was not nominated, probably the biggest animated film of the year, scale wise, and it still wasn't nominated, but that's fine. And Belle with Mamoru, directed by Mamoru Osada, who directed another Oscar nominated anime film. I wasn't very surprised that it didn't get nominated, but I was a little upset about it. But it's like
I will say
all of these movies, not even a word.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say, like, I could have seen Belle. I could have seen that being nominated.
Evangelion wouldn't have gotten it.
Evangelion was never happening. Never in
Never.
a million years.
Never was happening. But Belle could have, and it didn't.
Belle could have.
I'm really mad about that. I was just thinking about how much I want to get that when it comes out the other day. I'm very excited for Belle's release. But anyway, this one, Best Picture is, don't get me wrong, we got some good players here.
Yeah.
Like Dune, Drive My Car, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, all good movies.
Yeah.
Obviously I haven't seen any of the others, I've seen Don't Look Up, but it's a bad choice. Honestly though, if I'm being honest, that might be the worst choice the Oscars have made in a nomination that I've seen in my lifetime. Like, in terms of Best Picture nomination, definitely. There's no way. Like, even...
I'm sure there's worse.
I'm sure there's worse.
Dig and find
I'm sure there's worse, but there can't be much more. Like, I remember... I thought Green Book at the time was, like, a very strange choice to win Best Picture. If Don't Look Up wins Best Picture... Oh, my God. Okay, you know what? Here's a promise. Mm-hmm. I really shouldn't be the. I really shouldn't be the bet making man.
Remember the Joker.
I remember the Joker, but I'm willing to. I'm willing to stake it on this. Okay.
I mean, I think you're safe.
If Don't Look Up
I think you're safe.
If Don't Look Up wins Best Picture, I will stream myself watching it for 24 hours. I'll do it. It's not gonna happen. There's no way. And just by saying that, I've willed it into existence.
Dude, we have jinxed the fuck out of that.
Oh, we have. Oh my God, no.
I'm just looking at the other movies to see like if there was any other snubs that we didn't mention.
Right.
Pig was not nominated, but that's a surprise to no one. I never saw it. Not that it's a bad... I haven't seen it, but it's just not the type of movie that was going to get nominated. I think it's too...
What movie?
Pig.
Oh, yeah, no, Pig. Yeah, Pig wouldn't have.
It doesn't really surprise me. No. Malcolm and Marie, I've heard that was good, I think.
I've heard the same.
Annette didn't win it. Annette got nothing.
That's
Red
right.
Rocket got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And Red Rocket is a pretty recent movie, but still, it's like, did the Florida Project get anything? I know Willem Dafoe was nominated because he's Willem Dafoe.
Are you talking about like in?
I think that's pretty much all.
Are you talking about like in the previous years?
The Florida Project.
Yeah. Are you talking about like it being snubbed in the past?
Oh. No, but I was just comparing like Project was also snubbed compared to Red Rocket.
Yeah,
Same director.
Florida Project got snubbed that year. I remember. I think Willem got nominated. I think. I can't be too sure.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Okay.
Lamb didn't get anything, but like.
Did you expect it?
Yeah, that's. Yeah, exactly.
Lamb.
I was gonna say
Lamb was fine. That's all I gotta say.
I was gonna say we got nothing from any like horror movies.
That is also not surprising.
Unfortunately, not surprising, but still, that's a shame.
It's a shame.
It's kind of a shame that they snubbed Dear Evan Hansen, to be honest.
You really caught me off guard with that one.
It's like I'm looking at the 2021 movies on Letterboxd, and I saw that and was like, "Oh shit, yeah, that came out this year."
Oh god, you got me on that one. That's great. Like I was really
that would have been funny.
I was really listening. I was really listening. I'm like really expecting like, okay, he's gonna bring up like a really good contender here. And then that
Dear Evan Hansen.
Dear Evan Hansen. Yes, sir. Oh man, that's funny. All right. But I don't know, unless you got something. That's kind of all I had to say for today's podcast.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's probably, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all I had to say, yeah. I mean, we're at like 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, we're at the
I think we've got a decent length episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we should get into next week's movie.
Yeah.
So, let me put them all in the randomizer, and let me
all
click. Right. Okay, it is. Oh, it's Her. 2013's Her, starring Joaquin Phoenix.
All right.
Yeah. So
I was thinking about this movie recently. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it'd be a good. Now that I think about it, it'd be a good like late Valentine's Day episode for us, since we didn't talk about Valentine's Day or do anything Valentine's Day related, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we did expect this episode to come out.
It's true.
A week earlier.
Yeah,
so.
which, there was circumstances beyond either of our control that allowed us not to film. But we're here now, and we're going to talk about Her next weekend.
Yeah,
it's directed by Spike Jonze. So, yeah, that.
All right. Well,
that's the episode.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for watching the episode. If you liked it, you can like, comment, subscribe. You can subscribe to our own channels. You can follow us on Twitter and Letterboxd. Follow us on Twitch as well. And I think that's pretty much it. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week to talk about Her by Spike Jonze. Bye.
Bye-bye.